Hi everyone, Linda Reed-Enever. Wow, another Tuesday has come around and we are here for another Tips Tuesday session. And this Tips Tuesday, we are going to explore how you can attract a market for your events, for your webinars, for your courses, and how you can attract people to come along and enroll and get through and take that course or that event that you've been working so hard on promoting and getting out and sharing out there to the world. So I'm just going to give the algorithm a few seconds and I'm going to share through to the world of Facebook, to the world of the business group and the course creators circle, because this one is quite a big topic today about how we're going to attract our market, because having a really good event, knowing our stuff, doing all of those sorts of things is absolutely awesome. But if we don't have a market to send it to and we don't have people that we can attend, then creating the most amazing presentation or the most amazing course sits stale, and it doesn't motivate any one of us to not have anything selling through the process. So I'm just going to pop in next. Tips Tuesday time. Okay, and hello to everyone joining me. I'm nice to see you all. Hey, I'm glad to see you here. And there's my other phone reminding me that it's Tips Tuesday time, and I went live a little bit early, so yay this morning. Okay, so as I said, today's topic is all about attracting the right market for your courses. And I'm just going to move my coffee here. Oh, very excited. The Perfectly Imperfect mugs have arrived. You can grab one. Mine's just going to move over there this morning because if I knock it over while I'm talking to you guys, I'm going to be very cranky because it's going to ruin a few devices along the way. Okay, so when we are creating a course, creating an online event, creating a market, when we're creating an online event, a webinar, a course, a face-to-face event, or a webinar and those sorts of things. Good morning, Karen. How are you? I'm watching comments on my computer because the phone doesn't seem to want to bring them all up here this morning. We need an audience, okay? And the only way that we can get an audience is by marketing what we do. So creating our course, creating our landing pages, creating our products, creating everything so it looks great for our business is part of the process. Creating the presentation is part of the process. But where the work really kicks in, because the presentation, the landing pages, the platforms, all of that sort of stuff are great. They're part of the process. But if we don't market and we don't send traffic to those landing pages, to the courses, to the information, and we don't establish with the market that we're an expert within our field, then everything has gone to waste. And that's what today's Tip Tuesday is all about, is how do we create a market for that course? How do we create a market for that webinar? How do we create a market for that face-to-face workshop or the event that we're going to run? So my first tip when it comes to creating and marketing courses is to understand the delivery and the building of the landing pages. As much as I consider that part of your marketing journey, is just a small 40% of the work. 60% of the work that you put into an event or a course or pretty much anything, ebooks, whatever you put out there, is all coming down to the marketing. Okay, and you need to have multiple ways to connect with your audience, multiple ways to bring people into the marketing tree or funnel or whatever you want to call it. Most of my students know now that I refer to it as a tree, and we allow people to climb to the top of our tree to our top level services as we go through. So you need to have multiple ways in. Now, those multiple ways in are for a number of reasons. And one of the first reasons is that it will quite often take someone 7 to 8 touches and interactions with you before they go, yes, I'm prepared to put my hand in my pocket or my credit card over or the details into a form and pay you for what you do. Okay? So some of the stuff you see me do, which is part of my tips in leading through and educating through to courses and events and workshops, is what you're seeing here. You're seeing the regular Tips Tuesday sessions. So look at whether you can educate your market to come through, and that's going to be the next one. So we need to have multiple ways in. So when I talk to students about creating courses and those sorts of things, is live streams, webinars, Q&A sessions, having an ebook that maybe brings people through having an ebook and a downloadable that allows people to come in and start to share and educate and understand that process of your knowledge. So you give them a little bit of a taster. So ebooks are two of my favorites. Ebooks, having an ebook or a downloadable or a checklist that starts to spike the interest is a really good way. And quite often your course is solving a problem. So if you can have a checklist that identifies that problem as well, then that is going to help people engage with you and know that you know your stuff. And they're going to also help them identify the bits that they need to know within the process of going through and marketing it. So multiple ways in. Ebooks, number one. I also like to run webinars. So running webinars, information sessions, because our ebook, we're going to get their email address and details, and we can start to bring them into a nurture email sequence where we nurture them through the journey. Oh, great. Oh, glad you've shown interest. Here's some other tips that will help you along the way. And by the way, there's a course or there's an event or there's a workshop, and we keep educating through that nurture sequence. The other one that I love is webinars, because you get the email addresses. So the people come through, they show they're interested, and you can see by the people who are live in that webinar and do your webinars live, because you're able to tailor it to the market. There's nothing worse than having a pre-recorded webinar. By all means, have them. But I suggest YouTube videos, courses, all of those sorts of things for your pre-recorded stuff that you want out there. Or you can have a pre-recorded, a course, a free course with an access to pre-recorded stuff is there. But webinars allow you to connect with the audience live. They allow you to get an understanding of where they are. They allow you to get questions and answers. And by seeing your watch time statistics, you're able to work out what triggered them the most, when were they on screen the most, and how did they work with you. So I am a big believer in educating your market through webinars as well. So ebooks is one of them. Educating your market is another. Email lists. So if you've got an email list, if you've got an existing email list, one of the first things that I find and I say to people is, have you let your email list know? Have you let the people know that work with you that you're going to run this course or event or webinar? So send them an email. Don't be afraid to email your people. If you're emailing your people afraid that they're going to unsubscribe, the process of having them there is obviously to educate and empower them, but eventually we need to say, buy my stuff. So if they unsubscribe from your newsletter because all they wanted was the free information that you were providing, that is fine, because they were unlikely to buy and pay from the courses in the meantime. And the unsubscribe is actually a good thing, because you're starting to whittle down your list and you're starting to come into a group of people who know, like, and trust and value the information that you put out there. And, they may not be ready to buy yet, but they are looking at it and they're not offended by the opportunity of you asking them to buy. So your email list is another big one. And then it's the groups, it's the social media, it's reminding people, it's using those automation and those programming tools. It's about maybe going live on Facebook. It's about possibly using LinkedIn Live if you have that feature. It's about making sure that the event is on all those social platforms where it can be. So you've got Facebook events, you've now got LinkedIn events to be able to do. Google My Business now has an events option for you to be able to do that. So these are all free opportunities for you to be able to put your event, your workshop, your course launch, whatever it is you're working towards on, and market it so that people can engage with you and they can get through the process. So multiple ways in is the first thing when it comes through to that course and marketing and attracting people through. We need to have multiple ways that people can find you and multiple platforms. And that means things like, for me, it's things like Eventbrite, it's Facebook, it's LinkedIn, it's Google My Business, and it's about giving people multiple ways in to come and network with us. It's even YouTube videos and how-tos and a series of blog posts. And that brings me into the next one. It's about educating your market. So, and when I say about educating your market, it's not about educating them, hey, they need this product or service. It's about educating them, A, that you are an expert within your field. Especially if it's a brand new topic you're teaching and you know that you can do it, but the audience maybe didn't know that you offered this product or service, or didn't know that this was part of your background and your offering, then we need to educate them and we need to share with them some tasters and some knowledge, some information of how we know our stuff. And that can be done via the webinars I was talking about, via the blog posts, via the email, via the newsletters, and via the tips that you're doing. But educate your market and do it in a number of ways. Show that you know your stuff. Show that what being taught by you is going to be like. So show them a bit of a taster via those webinars or via some videos that will help people out throughout that process. And then solve a problem for them in that area so that they know that when they put their money over and they put their credit card over the line, they're not just going to be sold the whole time. They know that they're going to get an answer, and they know how you're going to teach and how you're going to educate them, because you've educated your market on what it's going to be like to attend that event or course with that blog series, that video series, or that webinar series leading up to it. Now, the other thing that I find that people do is that we do all of this education marketing, but there's no call to action at the end. So when we're blogging, and especially if we're doing a blog series released around a course or an event, use a call to action at the bottom saying, if you've enjoyed this blog post, if you've enjoyed what we're talking about, register for this course here. Now, I know that even in my own blogs, I need to go back. There are some blog posts that I have that educate my market about my credibility that I've turned into courses that I need to go back over my website, and I need to go back and put that call to action in for my courses. So if you're running courses right now and you've got education material on your website, or it's on your YouTube channel, or it's wherever it is, encourage the action by saying, if you enjoyed this post or you'd like further tips, here's a course on the topic, or here's a webinar on the topic, or here's an event on the topic. Because if you're leading people in through that education, when they get to the end of that article, they're looking, or the end of that video, they're looking for that next step, then they're looking for that next piece of action. And it's that next piece in the learning cycle for most people. And if you're providing the course or the offering or the event or the training session as part of your offering down the end of that, then the next logical step for them is to go and explore that, because you've presented the next step in their learning journey throughout that process. So we need to encourage action. And the other thing that I like to do to encourage action is introductory pricing, launch pricing, pre-sale pricing if it's coming to courses as well. So you give them a pre-sale option, you give them a deadline to basically buy the course or buy their early bird ticket or whatever it is from there. And when we do that, we're encouraging action. So we're encouraging people to jump in quick. Now, for those of you who have members only communities, you might do a members only price, and once again put a deadline and a time frame on that for a launch only price. So when I launch courses in particular, most of my courses will come out with an introductory price and a little countdown timer that's saying that the price is going to go up in so many days. And we do that so that we encourage action for people looking at it, and we get a few students in and we get the introductory component going from there. We then, on events, I have early bird tickets. So with events, when we're doing paid events and workshops, there's an early bird ticket that you can come in, you can jump in straight away and get on the early bird pricing and jump in and register for that event. And the early bird ticket pricing is great. It comes through, and just making sure that we encourage action. And then our final step when it comes to marketing our workshops is to make sure that we follow up. And that means if we've got someone on our email sequence, we're nurturing them through. If they've registered and shown interest for an event, we're nurturing them through. We're following up, and we may be sending a private message saying, hi, you noticed you've shown interest in my event. Thank you very much for that. Did you know early bird pricing was ending today? To our email lists, and for people who've registered that are interested in training and courses and workshops, we're following up and letting them know that, there's 48 hours left for early bird pricing, or whatever it is that you're coming through, or the product is launched, or it's ready for you to take. And we make sure that we are getting those 7 to 8 touches in with our audience by running into multiple channels for them to be able to connect and network with us. So we need to have multiple ways in, so multiple traffic sources, whether that's ebooks, webinars, social media posts, podcast guest appearances, have the multiple ways in. Educate your market, because by educating your market, you end up with a much better and well more informed attendee. And don't assume that the market knows that you know your stuff. Show them that you know your stuff by educating them. Encourage action and follow up, because the follow-up will see the ticket sales come through and the registrations come through in the end. And that, guys, is the end of this Tips Tuesday session. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I look forward to seeing you maybe roll out a couple of these tips in marketing through to your courses, to your events, and to your webinars as you go through. And if they work for you, come back and let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear it. Otherwise, I'll see you around next Tuesday when we do our final Tips Tuesday session. Well, not final Tips Tuesday, do another Tips Tuesday session, but I will likely be on the road for that one, so it'll be a car version and a little bit shorter, because I'm going to be on leave with some little people, and hopefully we can get out and around. So guys, have a great Tuesday, have an amazing week. For those of you who don't know, we have our skills webinar with Alex Perry at 11:30 this morning, where we're going to be talking about optimizing your body for health and business. And I must say, Alex's stuff is real. It's stuff that we can all do. So why not come along and join me for that one as well? If you head to the business.com.au website, you'll be able to register for that skills webinar, and I'll see you around at 11:30. Bye.